All right, welcome back to another IMA panel, the Independent Media Alliance. We're here today to discuss a very important conversation, something that you guys pretty much on every one of our channels has seen conversations about. And this is the larger point is around the Stargate project, how that intersects, publicly and obviously with the mRNA cancer shot and the platform that that's going to build on top of everything else, the overlap with artificial intelligence and the many different characters we can get into that are aligned along that, not even including Elon Musk, which I clearly think is involved in all of this. But the main point is the intersection between all of that and something we've been talking about, which is the Internet of Bodies, the Internet of Things, which are technically two separate concepts, one meaning your refrigerator and your devices being connected to the internet, which is alarming in and of itself, in my opinion. Then you've got the Internet of Bodies, which is talking about the somewhat devices that are on your body or interconnected in some way. Then you've got something called the Internet of Nano Things. And this is what's interesting about this, and I've got some videos queued up we'll talk about today. This is where it's been for a long time, at least the conversation. And I think we should partly discuss whether some of this might be like a ploy or feigned or not actually there. There's a lot of that in the conversation as well, but that this is the focal point of a lot of the leading science and conversation. And yet it doesn't seem to be a part of much of the conversation at all. It's kind of alarming in its own right. And that becomes the overlap of nanotechnology having an interconnection to the internet and being internal in your body, flowing through your bloodstream or floating through the air and landing on your skin. And these are very real conversations. DARPA being a main part of this conversation, which is interconnected with much of Trump's administration. So today we're going to be talking about how all this connects and our concerns and where it may be going. So thank you all for being here today with Ivor, Steve, Derek, and Catherine here to discuss the concerns we have for all of this. So Catherine, if you'd like to start it off with what you were concerned about and where you see this going. Oh, you're muted, Catherine. Oh, Catherine, you're muted.
What we're watching with the new administration is they're responding to a series of fundamental changes that need to be made. But one of the things they're doing is they're getting rid of the old tools of empire and building new tools. And that includes taking the next steps and building the control grid. And Ryan, you and I talked about this before the election, and that is there are four things that need to happen if you're going to build a complete control grid of the kind that we've been hearing about for the last couple of years. One is you need digital IDs, and we see them certainly forging ahead with that. The second is you need the fiscal side of the house to be controlled by the central bankers, not by the Congress and the people's representatives. The third thing you need an all digital monetary system. Now, a digital ID and a digital monetary system need extraordinary data capacity, and that's where Stargate comes in, which is the funding of $500 billion of data centers all over the country and the energy capacity you need to do those. And we see that as one of the first announcements of the new administration. And that included mRNA technology, which we know is very toxic and dangerous for humans. Interestingly enough, when the president announced the Stargate initiative, Purdue University announced its Center for the Internet of Bodies. And of course, one of the big questions on mRNA technology is to what extent is it part of injecting into our bodies nanoparticles of the kind that would help hook you up on the internet. And we've seen, if you come to the Solari report for years, we've been covering the mysterious ingredients in the injections, the mysterious ingredients in the spraying, the mysterious ingredients in the food. This has been going on for a while, but we are seeing a move to literally invasively track, surveil, control, and influence the population. And of course, if that can be integrated with financial transaction control and a social credit system, then we're seeing the ability to turn on and turn off people's payments in a way that, for example, during the pandemic, if they had that system in place, that if they don't want you leaving your house, your money or your car won't, your electricity and your money won't work. Or if they don't want you buying pizza, your credit card won't buy pizza. So again, this administration seems much more intent on doing it with crypto rather than a CBDC, which in many respects is even more dangerous than a CBDC. The CBDC, if the Fed does it, then they still have constitutional obligations to the Congress. If private infrastructure does it with, an all digital monetary system, then you've got private and secret controls. But either way, it's something that we don't want to live with. So what we're watching is a rapid, accelerating move to institute a digital control grid, certainly in the United States, but with systems like Starlink, invasive surveillance all around the world, which we've had for decades through Five Eyes. But this just makes it more intense. And clearly, one of the things that's happening, if you look at their policies, is they're planning on very significant land and asset grabs along with it, which is, even more disturbing. So I would say what we're looking at is, and I credit other people with saying this. We're canceling the old tools of empire and moving to new tools of control. And of course, that makes what's happening in Gaza or the genocide we've been seeing in the Ukraine even more disturbing. Because if you look at the land grabs currently underway, whether it's abroad in the Ukraine or Gaza or in North Carolina or Lahaina or Northern California, the tools and tactics being used to simply take assets is pretty scary.